Most agents, they just list a home, but I launch them. And that's why my clients walk away with tens of thousands more in their pocket. It's called the model home mindset, born from one unforgettable moment. I'm watching buyers after buyer fall in love with a perfectly staged model home before they even reach the second floor. And that's when I realized people don't buy square footage, they buy emotion. So when selling a home, here's what is at risk. If your agent doesn't understand how to market emotion, stage strategically, and launch with precision, you could be leaving $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 on the table. It's not guesswork, it's a system. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. And if you wait to the end, I have 3 case studies to show you exactly how this whole system works. And it's kind of all in my book, Model Home Mindset, or you can also get my other book, Home Selling Charts, on Amazon. Let's get to it. Well, I don't know if you know, but my father was a custom home builder. I'd go to the sample home on weekends and help out, and people would come in and tour these beautiful, model homes because he was a custom home builder. And I saw something very powerful unfold. I think it all translated to me. After I got out of college and decided to get into real estate, I start realizing what it is that captures these buyers. And when they walk through the house, their eyes light up. And they all had the same reaction, with their eyes lighting up, and they said, oh, I can see myself building something like this before they even saw the second floor. This weekend after weekend, it just got ingrained in my mind when I actually went into real estate. The home they were reacting to wasn't a standard property. It was a model home. It's clean, neat, it's professionally staged, it's strategically lit, expert marketing, creating an emotional connection. That's when the insight hit. Buyers aren't buying square footage, they're buying a vision. They buy what they imagine their life could be in their space. From that moment on, I shifted my whole approach. I said to myself, every home should be presented like a model home from my very first listing I went into. Let's declutter this, paint that, do this, make it look like it hasn't been lived in. And the concept became the foundation of my business model. And that's why I wrote this book, Model Home Mindset. But the results were there. I sell houses faster, I generate lots of offers, and my clients experience less stress, and I get tons of introductions afterwards from my sellers who are extremely happy. It's why I've been in business this long. It's a system. You want to find an agent who has a system, a process that's proven successful, and who has a listing-based business. So let's talk about that next. What is a listing-based business? Well, most agents, they only have the capacity to focus on buyers. They're driving them around, they're opening doors, they're writing tons of offers. That's not the model you want for the agent marketing your home. You need an agent who runs a listing-based business. All their time, their team's time, and all their systems are focused solely on selling homes. They have a whole department. And there's a department for buyers too, but this is a whole selling department. That's it. And they treat your listing like a product launch, not a passive MLS upload, okay? Do you understand that? Not a passive MLS upload. This is a launch of a product on the shelf. It's your home. You only get one time to make the first impression. How's it gonna look? Is it gonna be a model home mindset idea, or is it gonna be like, okay, we'll just put it on the market and see what happens? So what does a model home mindset include? What does this whole process look like? Well, first, a market analysis to price and position the home properly, making sure that the home is priced to bring in buyers who will pay more for the house because you brought in certain buyers who didn't think they could afford such a great house. Because every buyer will stretch up. Yes, hear that again? Every buyer will stretch up, but you can't get them to stretch if you're not priced properly. And then you have to coordinate all the pre-listing improvements, the staging, having the contractors. A good listing-based business agent has a whole contractor team, and they coordinate all the improvements. You don't need to even be there. It's best if you're not. We get a lot more done. We can do a lot more when you're not there. We can do a lot more because we find that sellers who aren't coachable and they don't see it, it's impossible to work with them because it's hard to work when they are not seeing the final outcome and what we could do for them. And then when that's all fixed up and everything, you have to have a custom marketing strategy and then roll it out. How is your agent rolling them out? How is this working? And then you gotta have a negotiating pit bull on your side. That's fierce, experience, and client base first, not the commission check first. Agents always come to me and say, well, take my offer. I'm like, why? I should take your offer when I have more. You need to come up to this number. Your agent needs to negotiate for you, not for their pocketbook. A listing-based business is a serious business. It's not a side hustle. They're not working one listing here, one listing last year, and they've did 3 listings in the last year. It's not something that they try. It's a plan with a clear outcome and results. They've done over and over and over again, showing every result that they had. It's professional home marketing, and that's why we win, and that's what you want to do when you sell your house. You want to win. That's by picking the right agent is so important that has a listing-based business. That's all they focus on. So, what are the 5 elements of this model home mindset? Let's break it down. The first 3 elements. 1, declutter like a developer. Model homes. They're spotless, there's no clutter, there's no stuff in the closets. It's neat. No cords or piles. The garage is painted, the basement's painted if it's not finished. There's not real visible noise. The preparation that's happening, it treats every square inch of your home like it matters. Like if you're selling your car, you'd even go into the engine and you would detail that. It's down to the detail. Because the goal is to maximize your perceived space and value. That's why in your storage area you don't have any storage, because people can see that they can put things in storage. They don't want to see it overpiling, all over the place. You don't want to see your closets. You open the door and things fall out at you. You don't want that. It doesn't help. And also clearing every surface, because it opens up the room and it really adds to the bottom line. Nothing in the corners. All your magnets off your refrigerator. I have a whole list. I'll put it down below for you. Or you can get it in my book, Model Home Mindset or The Home Selling Sharks. Second element, emotionally stage the experience. I'm not talking about furniture placement, because I do that, but it's the emotional impact, because every room tells a story. Model Home Mindset, we create emotional triggers in every room. Maybe a blanket on a reading chair for comfort, fresh flowers in the kitchen for vitality, a stylish office setup and that's for productivity and lifestyle. Every element is intentional to make the buyer feel something. Okay, you need to feel this. You're not just showing your home, you're selling a lifestyle. They want to see how they feel in the house. They want to feel it, emotionally see them in the house, see themselves in the house, okay? Third element is pre-inspection power. I do it for all my houses. Builders do a punch list before showing a model, so you should have yours. Your home inspection should happen before hitting the market. Don't wait for the buyer to identify potential red flags. Handle these repairs and improvements proactively. The outcome, you'll have no surprises, smoother negotiating, and way more control over the process. I can't say that enough. I do it for every one of my listings, and for every listing that doesn't do it, we have problems. Number 4, marketing that matches the value. Most agents do the bare minimum. They take some quick photos, they throw it into the multiple listing. That's not marketing, that's uploading. Your listings are launched like a luxury product with professional video, storytelling, or precisional target, social media campaigns and for the buyer's market. What target market are you marketing to? Making sure that it's eye-catching and so that those buyers are actually looking at the house. Have some real nice signage there and email campaigns. Exclusive neighborhood previews to build early demand. Get something out to your neighbors first. As a result, you're going to get faster showings, stronger offers, and you'll have a lot less stress. And number 5, make sure the strategic pricing and launch timing is so important. Strategic pricing, launch timing. This is what you don't want to guess at. You research this and you execute. I'm saying execute because your agent should know what to do. They should know what's going on the market and when and how to do this. This is not something you can write in a book. It's something that a good agent, a listing agent, knows. I don't know if you noticed, but a builder, they release a model at the right time. They do it at a certain time. They study buyer behavior, they analyze days on the market, they leverage price banding and seasonal trends. Because the goal is really to create urgency and avoid the hesitation. They want people to buy right then. And your pricing isn't about being the lowest price, it's about being strategically irresistible. Consider that, strategically but irresistible. Like a price that looks, oh my God, this price looks too good to be true. And then they're ready to come up 20, 30,000. That's how it works. So what's all this model home mindset about? I'm going to call it, this is about ROI, not just a sale. ROI, not just a sale. Because selling your home is not just a transaction. You're unlocking this equity that you spent years or decades building. Every step you take increases or decreases the return. The model home mindset is all about maximizing return on value and the Home Selling Sharks book together. They can mean $30,000 more in your next purchase, or $50,000 more for your retirement, or avoiding a loss from cutting corners. Selling smart means planning smart. Coming to see me at one of my seminars. Get me in the door a year in advance, 6 months to a year. Because you can't go back and do the things you could have done if you wait too long, and then you lose money. So my next home seller seminar is coming up. If you go to DianeCardano.com, let's see if the next one I do fits in your schedule. All right, let's talk about client success stories. I told you I was going to give you this in the beginning. Let's talk about these. You want to hear some success stories? Well, I had my first client, no names here. They were just ready. All my clients are ready to list. Most agents would have snapped a few pictures and stuck a sign out front. It wasn't a big luxury home. It was like a $500,000. It was a nice house. What I did though, I just did the full model home mindset on this house. My cute sellers, they were leaving for Florida. And I said, here's my plan. And they said, okay. And they said, well, we're going to interview a couple agents. So I was ready to walk out. And I ran out and said, come on, we want you to list the first person who's been honest to us. They said, we really don't have the money to do anything, but as part of my model home mindset, I give money, I pay for the things, and they pay me back at settlement. So we decluttered and we pre-inspected it, we staged, we painted, we did all the things we do. You can look at my video on low-cost fix-ups. Well, we priced it right as well, of course. And this home is funny because during the coming soon, we sent out the letter to all the neighbors from the seller. That's what we do. Because 25% of the time, a buyer comes from somebody in that neighborhood knows, hey, the house is coming on the market. You got to come over and see it. It's not in the multiple listing yet. Sellers are allowed to do that. I mean, we're not as agents. And people want to come in. So the seller was outside. I said, listen, if somebody wants to come in, you can. I can't show it to you when it's during the coming soon time. They came in and the seller was there. And they threw an offer at us before it went on the market. And it was a full price offer. Yeah, it was full price offer. And we said, well, we really want to wait because we don't want to take the full price offer right away. I might better get more. That's how we do this. So we waited and we did the whole thing. And a buyer came in and pushed the numbers up. I've got all the numbers up. And I said, if you want this house, you've got to come up to your highest and best. Well, that full price offer changed to be $40,000 more. They bought the house for $40,000 more than the offer they gave us. So you have to watch not taking that offer during your coming soon period or selling it to a neighbor unless there's some commission break or something or whatever, but you definitely want to watch that. So that was the first one, my first client story, which is very interesting. That's why you need to work with a listing-based agent because there are a lot of things that most agents wouldn't have done that I created through negotiating. And also my impact amongst the agent community, because I do know a lot of people and I've sold many homes. And a lot of agents know that my listings, they sell fast and they know I'm fair. They know I'm the real deal. Okay, next one. Client, we're gonna call him John Doe because he's a nice Italian guy. I'm Italian too, and he didn't understand really anything. He was so skeptical. He didn't think about prepping or staging mattered, and it was giving me a little agita. Okay, so his wife was a little smarter than him as far as that, and was not afraid to spend money. He was just afraid that all his hard-earned work, he was very rooted in his culture, is that we worked very hard, and I don't want to throw money away. I said, we're not going to be throwing money away. And it was fighting me every day on doing a pre-home inspection, and eventually got him to do it. Thank God, because that really helped out. And we did some work. I also lent them the money. There was a money thing too there. I think I just didn't want to put it out not knowing if it was going to sell or not, because it was on the market for $1.55 million. And I got it and I listed it for $1.35, and we ended up selling it for $1.4. Okay, because he allowed me to do things. I think I could have gotten more if it was just allowed me to do a little bit more, but we got it done. And it was hard for them to see. So if you have a listing-based agent who can show you examples and have you get on the phone with a couple sellers who are skeptical as well, they can understand then that there are other people like them feeling the same thing. And my third success story, I've been talking about her a lot, is my one client who lived in the same township as I do. I was referred to them. I sold her brother's house about a couple of years before that, and he was a house that was called an expired listing. And he was Italian too. I couldn't seem to attract these Italian, because I'm Italian, I guess that's why. But anyway, he attracted me, and I came over, and he didn't want to do anything. And the home didn't sell, and I had to reconnect his brain to what could sell. And it worked, so he referred me to his sister, whose home was on the market for 8 months. The marketing, the pictures were okay, probably done by a photographer, but the house itself, I couldn't believe she didn't tell the seller to do anything. So we did our low-cost fix-ups. They ended up spending like $30,000. The house was listed for $850. They got an offer for $800, and they talked to me and said, should we take that offer? I'm like, no, I can get you a lot more than that. I definitely promise you. And then the first thing we did was, it was November, right before it got too cold, we painted the door and the shutters, because they were red, red shutter and doors. We painted them to my new color, Iron Mountain Gray from Benjamin Moore, and it was gorgeous. I'm going to be doing a whole video on this. I just want to show how we did all this. And then the interior would need it. It's this awful, orangey brown, burnt orange, brownish color, and we got rid of all that, and we put new vanities in the 2 bathrooms, and we did a lot, because this is, a house in a neighborhood where people are around the corner, have split levels, and they want to move up. It's like a little pocket. It was a great pocket. And then we end up selling it for $960,000. Yeah, that was a lot. And I sold it to a neighbor who lived in one of these split levels homes, and they're now loving the house because it was in move-in condition versus, oh my God, you walk in and you have to do all these things to it. Imagine that. So that's another success story. I got it looking like a model home. Some of the floors also were discolored, and we brought our guy in, and for like $800, he did this whole family room, living room floors. It was amazing. So there's just 3 examples of how we helped sellers. I've got so many of them that I could show you, and what a real deal agent should. If you need a real agent in your neighborhood, just click the link below. Let's get started. Let me do a video walkthrough first, and I could kind of figure out what you need. So if you're thinking about selling in the next 2 months or 2 years, now's the time to start the conversation. Come to my next home seller seminar, or get one of my books. Do something. Let me introduce you to an agent in your area, because the more lead time, you can be more strategic and more profitable because you're strategic. You have a better outcome. Go to Amazon and get my book, Model Home Mindset. And if you call me, text me directly, my number's below, I will send you a copy of my book, okay? And mention my YouTube playlist, okay? And I will definitely do that. Of course, if you live in my area, I can give you a free session. We can discuss timing and goals and create a tailored roadmap for you. And, basically, this isn't a house. This is your investment into your next chapter. And we have to make sure it pays off. You got it? If you really want the model home mindset, listing yourself with a listing-based realtor, and you have to watch this video. $100,000 down the drain. It will cost you all the low-cost fix-ups you can do to maximize your profit. You gotta watch this one. It's a good one.